Hello and welcome back to another episode of Let's Play LOTRO with me, Balthelion. So we've had a little bit of a break because I've been partly ill and also partly recording for the Update 23 beta process. Update 23 has now launched. It launched earlier this week. So if you haven't had a chance to play that yet, I highly recommend you get in game and give it a go. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, so I was doing some videos exploring the two new regions that come out of that. And so on and so forth. So I didn't have time to record any normal videos, and even if I did, I was feeling very ill and coughing and spluttering quite a bit. So, you know, what little motivation and health I had to make videos was being focused on those. So today we are back with Pendulous. We are over in the Pit of Iron, which is in the northeast of the Heathfells. Now we have been over here before to kill certain orcs. We're actually going to go inside this time. So we've got one quest where we had to go search for Ondor, and we didn't find him, but it has told us you spot something lying next to the cave entrance, which is this dwarf make pickaxe, which we could not pick up the last time we were here. So, a dwarf make pickaxe lies here on the ground, dropped amid the signs of a struggle. At a second glance you realise that this is the same pick wielded by Ondor the dwarf, while he strove to collapse a cave entrance with your aid. Ondor must be somewhere nearby, and the yawning cave entrance before you suggests darkly where the valiant but foolish dwarf is likely to be found. So, we have to go wandering inside. We can just ignore these guys. So, inside here then. So originally this never used to have a map, so people used to get really confused. But the way I always used to think about it was basically, imagine it was like a 3x3 grid. So you got top left, top middle, top right, middle left, centre, middle right, bottom left, bottom middle, bottom right. But now we've got a map on there anyway, so it does make it a little bit easier to understand what's going on. But it's basically, there are some ground bits that you can walk around. There's also some bits up in the rafters where you can go along some minecart tracks. So this kind of tries to help you out. We'll see how helpful it is, because I don't think I've actually done this since the map, or at least this version of the map was in there. So we need to talk to Ondor in the Pit of Iron. He's just over on this platform where there's an orc casually right next to him. You'd think he'd want to murder it, but no, they're just literally sat right next to each other having a chat. So we'll quickly murder him and see what Ondor has to say. But we should have various quests that we're going to need to do as part of this. Come on, Ondor, speak up. Ah, Pendulous, it is good to see you again. We seem to have found the main nests of these villains. We have. I have been scouting it out a bit. The orcs here, they're mining. Well, being orcs, they're too lazy to mine, so they use slaves to do it for them. It seems they've been gathering slaves from among the Dunlandings for a long while, and more recently they've captured some Rohirrim during their nightly raids. I guess they're pretty safe down here with all the fighting going on up above. That's where we get them.
I would be grateful for your assistance.
The orcs seem to have caught two groups of slaves separately down here. Most of the ones I've seen have been those wild men, the Dunlandings. I'm not sure where the orcs have been getting them, but there's a lot of them down there. A couple of days ago, though, the orcs started bringing in small groups of those horse folk, the Rohirrim. They all looked pretty banged up, so I'm guessing they were captured in battle up above. Anyway, those folk don't seem to like each other much more than the orcs. But if we're going to put an end to this, we need to get them to work together. If you can find out who is leading each group and talk to them, maybe you can convince them to put aside their differences and kill the orcs instead of each other. So we have to go find the two leaders. The two leaders are on the middle right hand side, which is obviously quite clear now because you can see slave quarters.
Will you stay a moment?
There, did you hear that, Pendulous? Those blasts you're hearing in the distance. It sounds like thunder down here, but it's actually one of those fool goblins playing with something new and dangerous. It sounds like something that mad old wizard up in the Shire might have cooked up. But I don't think he would be sharing it with the goblins. So he's talking about Gandalf there, and Gandalf and his fireworks. No, I'd wager Saruman is behind this devilry somehow. Yes, sir, you'd be correct. It's Saruman and his black powder. Anyway, goblins are nasty enough with their usual toys. I don't relish fighting them armed with whatever that is. Let us see if we can dissuade them from using it anymore. So we have to defeat 8 goblins. The goblins are middle bottom, going up from here. So we're basically going to end up curving around here and then going up again, basically. and we need to talk to the 2 slave people. So that's all we've got for now. So we can jump off here. It isn't fatal. Normally you'd have to go up round there, and you kind of can cross one of these bridges to get across, but we're just going to jump down. There we go. Discovered the smelters. We've got exhausted slaves down here. We don't need to do anything with them just yet. But we want to get all the way down to the ground floor. Trying to minimise how much we break our legs. But there will be plenty of goblins around. Hopefully I can land on this. There we go. It's a smaller distance to fall when I eventually do break my legs. Right, let's gather up a few of these then. My legs are probably going to be broken for quite a while. Actually no, it's about to run out. So yeah, I'm going to fight my way around here. The goblins will try and use black powder on this, which will... I don't know if we get sent flying or they get sent flying. There's definitely some quests here. I think we have to trap some barrels at some point, and then the goblins run for the barrels and explode horribly. What is that noise? Is that meant to be that forge? It's like a horrible noise which is like just everywhere around me. It's not coming from any particular direction. Volatile goblins. He's got a bomb, so is he going to throw it at me? Yeah, he does. There we go. Okay. So he'll send me flying at a short distance, a bit like the goblins we saw earlier in the Isendale. So, murder. Oh, you got bloody defilers doing totems as well. So we'll casually kill these then. So yeah, update 23. If you haven't played it yet, it's called Where Dragons Dwell. It comes with 2 new regions, as opposed to normally 1 region, so you're already off to a good start. Which is the Iron Hills, which is to the east of Erebor, and the Grey Mountains, which is to the north of Erebor. Which I probably can't show you on the map. Actually, I can. Normally it doesn't like zooming out. Oh, hello. They've changed this map now to look like the Rovanian map. Interesting. Because people were complaining that all the maps look different. Obviously the maps for each of the regions will still be the same. But that is a nice touch. I do like this. I've never noticed this before. Obviously you've got all the rivers marked and that as well. That's pretty cool. I like it. But yeah, so our last region we were at was Northern Mirkwood, which goes also up to Erebor and the Downlands. So we've now got the Iron Hills to the east and the Grey Mountains to the north. And they're forming part of the ongoing storyline. So if you play through Northern Mirkwood, you kind of know the various plot threads that were kind of left at the end of that, and the weekly episodic quests that were being released after Northern Mirkwood. That obviously plays into some of the storylines in the new regions. I don't want to go into specifics because some of you might not have been there and you probably don't want spoilers. But it's interesting enough. I'm probably about 2/3 of the way now through the Iron Hills. It's a pretty nice, it's unique appearance for that region, given that it is, as its name suggests, the Iron Hills full of iron. There's a good effort to make all the rocks and that look like it is iron ore. It's kind of got that kind of like rusted brown kind of appearance as iron ore would. The rivers are kind of a bit rust stained as well, so it's a very nice looking region. The amount of quests that are in it compared to its size are probably a little bit on the low end, based on what I've seen so far. Obviously I'm not fully through it, but I still think it's going to probably come in a bit short for how many quests we would have liked to have seen in the region. But it is still a nice touch. But I do know from my exploration anyway that the Grey Mountains is going to be the more content heavy part of the update anyway, because that's where you've got your new reputation factions, your new content and storyline, whereas the Iron Hills is kind of mostly dealing with previous plot lines. Okay, so we've actually killed enough goblins now, so we can go east along this road and then up north to the slave quarters. But yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. If you haven't seen what it looks like and Don't worry, there's no spoilers on my region preview videos because I don't like spoilers either. Especially because otherwise, if I do all the content on the test server and then I have to do it again on live, it's just soul destroying. It's like I've already done it before. It's a bit boring then. So I've only had a little ride around the two regions, but they're quite nice, both of them. Quite nice to look at, quite nice to explore. There's a lot of exploration deeds. So yeah, if you're into those kind of things, if you've done like Northern Mirkwood, Mordor, those kind of regions, you know, where you're going to have to find lost lore pages and this kind of stuff, you know, stuff that rewards exploration. If you're the kind of person that loves all these deeds and so forth, you're going to love it. If you're one of those people that hates having a new deed pop up because then you've got OCD and you need to complete the damn thing, then you might hate it, but it's nowhere near as bad as some of the regions we've had in the past. Who is there? A Devodiad? You wear no chains, yet you do not carry the mark of the white hand either. Who are you? Well, perhaps there is some spark of hope down here after all. Most of us were brought down here after we were unable to pay for levies for the war against the Horse Lords, or tried to escape conscription. Our own Brennans betrayed us and sold us to these monsters. Now we find ourselves enslaved next to the very same demons who invaded our lands and brought this fate upon us. It is too much to bear, but at least they suffer the same fate as we. So, he's the de facto leader of the Dunlanding slaves. So we're going to go now. I know there's a quest ring on the radar for that same guy. Actually, no, we need to go north. So now we have to go and speak to whoever's in charge of the Rohirrim guys, and basically convince them that peace is the way forward. So we have to kill these guards at the entrance. Surprised there wasn't guards at the entrance to the other one, unless someone else is in here and they might have killed them recently. It's also a possibility. Normally you have some guards. So we've got Ed here. Who are you, elf? One of Saruman's lackeys? I see. Well, you would do best to keep hidden down here. If the orcs catch you, you will be in with the rest of us, or quite likely dead. Most of us were captured 2 days ago when our band was ambushed by orcs as we were returning to the ford. Now we are being forced to work the mines alongside the Dunlandings. Those fools sided with the orcs and have found their reward down here as slaves. It serves them right, I suppose, but that does not help us any. I do not think any of us are going to survive very long down here. So now that we've spoken to both of them, we can speak to them both in any order, and then we have to speak to them again and convince them both. You have a plan to help us escape, but you would have us fight alongside the wild men? Such an outlook may serve you well in polite company, but I think you give these barbarians far too much credit. They fight bravely enough, but they know nothing of honour or justice. These are men whose own lords sold them into slavery, and you believe we can trust them to stand by us in battle? More than likely, they will try to bargain away our lives in return for their own freedom. But I see your point. We will die down here soon enough, whether or not we are betrayed. If you can convince them to go along with this plan, then I will vouch for our cooperation if we can find some way to fight our way out of here. So, the Rohirrim are on board. Now we just have to convince their arch enemies, the Dunlandings, to play ball as well. But yeah, there's a lot of this, like, kind of, they hate each other, but they kind of have to put aside their differences from time to time to kind of deal with other things, and they begrudgingly do it. We have been betrayed enough already, Pendulous. You may believe the Horse Lords trustworthy, but we have fought them since the days before my father was born. I think that's probably been going on years before that, but whatever. You cannot trust them. Every time we have made some agreements with them, we have lost land, honour, or the lives of our finest warriors. We try to fight back, and they claim yet more land from us. Once all of the plains of the east were ours, but now we... Merrin pauses for a moment, struggling to regain his composure. What do you suggest? To die in battle, whether it be at the hands of the vile orcs or the cursed Forgoil? That would still be better than to starve and die grubbing through the rock like a blind worm. If you can convince the Horse Lords to fight the orcs, rather than stabbing us in the back, then I would convince the others to ready themselves. So there we go, we've convinced them. Success. Hopefully they don't try and stab each other on the way out. This mine is infested with terrible beasts that the orcs call pitworms. They live near the fetid ponds in the lowest sections of the mine. Whenever one of us becomes too ill or exhausted to work, they are thrown to the worms, who devour them while they still live. It seems to amuse the orcs to watch us die this way. If you could kill off some of the vile creatures, then at least we would not face that awful fate. It would make it easier for me to convince the others to aid you. Oh, he's got another one as well. In the deepest reaches of the mine, there is a terrible worm that has grown to enormous size. The creature has on occasion slithered out of its pit and preyed upon unwary slaves, murdering and devouring them before disappearing back into its hole. If you can find and defeat this devourer of men, you will save many from a terrible fate. So we can take that, and I think the Rohirrim guy is also now... Oh, hello. Well, you guys can follow me over here. If you don't reset, I'll kill you over here. Yeah, the Rohirrim guy should have a couple of quests as well for us to do. So, group everyone out. Murder, murder, murder. Although one of them's a defiler and he's just throwing poo at me from the back. Just to be awkward. And I can't run back over to you because you've got a defiler totem out, which is reducing my run speed. God damn you, sir. Why can't you just be a melee orc? So we're probably going to have another 2 quests from the Rohirrim guys. The water that the orcs bring us comes from the dank pools that gather in the low areas of the mine. It is contaminated and poisonous, and those who drink it eventually fall ill. So we are left either to die slowly from the poison, or more swiftly from thirst. An unpleasant choice of evils. Eventually we just collapse from exhaustion or sickness, and the orcs toss us into some pit to die. If you could find some source of fresh water in these caverns and get it to the exhausted miners, it would help restore their strength, and purchase us some time to plan our escape. So there we go. So, 3 quests. So, we need to head west from where we are now, and the pools are over here, kind of like the top left, middle, centre area. We're going to end up finding a lot of these guys around. Just have to murder them as we see them, otherwise we'll be dragging them everywhere. But yeah, these worms, these are literal proper worms, glowworms, as opposed to dragon worms. So if we head up here, then we're going to go up north, up and over this slope. If we can sneak around without pulling people. Actually, I can use a goat. I've only just realised that. So sneak around here. Now if I can get up here. So we're now on the very northernmost border of the place up here. So we're going to go all the way west over to this bit. And we're going to end up jumping off a little cliff up ahead. Now, our old friends might jump off with us. There we go, we've discovered the underworkings. Completed exploring the heath fells. So this is it, we only needed 2 things in here. But this is part of the overall heath fells deed. There's not a separate Pit of Iron exploration deed. So the only 2 points you need are basically anywhere near the top, underneath all the mine carts, and the slave quarters on the east side. So we need a water bucket. So this is not a carry quest. We just now have to go talk to 6 miners to give them fresh water. This door up here, if I can get up. So this leads to upstairs. There's a couple of places that will lead us upstairs. So one door is here if you need to find it. We need to defeat the Devourer, who will be lower down than where we are. So we might as well jump down here, I think. But first, I can just see an exhausted slave.
You are welcome here, as long as you do not trouble us.
What is this? Water? You have my thanks, stranger. My strength was at an end. So we jump down here. There's the Devourer. He always like shimmies along this path over here. Big nasty worm, 19k. Can I dismount, please? Thank you. So we'll murder him. Something else we also need to be aware of as well is because they rebalanced all the stats and all the formulas for calculating how much of this rating gives you how much percentage of this stat and that kind of stuff. So for damage and defense and so forth, they have completely rebalanced that throughout the entire game. So if you log in after the update, no matter what level you are, you don't have to be at the the new region level range 115 plus. But you might find that your health has maybe shot up massively. Your damage is probably up. It might be even down a bit depending on your gear. I don't know. But they've done this in an effort to standardise it. They might refine it because some things might be a bit weird, and at some level ranges with certain gearings could be completely and utterly OP or broken. So we need to kill 12 of these worms here, so I'll just murder these while I'm talking. But yeah, so we have to see what difference it's made to us. I can't remember what my health was before we started, but I get the inclination that it's gone up considerably. I don't know what it was prior to the update. Was it maybe about 7-8k, was it? And now it's gone up to 13, because I don't think it was anywhere near that high before. But in terms of like time it takes to kill mobs, I think it's pretty much on par with what it was before. I might be wrong, but a couple of AoE attacks and most things are generally dead, so I don't think it's changed too much, at least for a champion in the sort of level range that I am now. Need 6 more of these guys. Let's grab these 2. Come to me, wormies. Come on, he's not too far away. There we go. But yeah, you might find that you're either ridiculously OP, or maybe, depending on your gear, you might be struggling at a certain level range. So if that does prove to be the case, I would probably recommend just putting some sort of discussion topic on the forums, just so the developers know if something is working or not working, or working too well, or just being completely OP. Oh, what a gank that was. Yeah, it seems to it's fine at the minute. I know some people have complained that the mid game is a bit OP at the minute, but I haven't really noticed it myself. Your mileage might vary. Maybe we're fine at 75, but maybe level 40 or something like that could be a bit OP.
Here, as long as you do not trouble us.
What is this, water? You have my thanks, stranger. My strength was at an end. So he's going to wander off. So again, this is another way we can get up. So if we go all the way up these wooden paths, up here, just show you where I am now. So starting from about here, at the bottom of this lake, if we go west, we can then get on this dirt track, which leads us, ultimately, in the bottom left over here, to the exit. So yeah, just bear that in mind. But I think I've probably been rambling on long enough that we should probably stop here and call that an episode, and carry on with the rest of the Pit of Iron next week. So let me know what you guys think of Update 23 if you've had a chance to play it yet. But until next time, I will see you guys later.